Hello and welcome to the Playing Arts Podcast, where we put the spotlight on artists in our community. I'm your host, Andy Needham, and this week my guest is Vasjen Katro, who is better known as Baugasm, a visual designer from Tirana, Albania, and the creator of the Ace of Diamonds in the Playing Arts Crypto Edition. Through the Baugasm project, Vasjen has developed a style that many have tried to replicate, but there can only be one Baugasm, and he's here right now with us. Welcome to the show, Vasjen. How you doing?
Andy, thanks for having me. This is awesome. Yeah, it's been a while waiting to come here, so it's pretty cool to be on. And thanks for having me. And hope we're gonna have a really nice chat today. And thanks for all the nice words.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, well, that's a pretty interesting camera you got there. I love that depth of field effect that's going on. We can see your awesome studio. Look at that. You can just check. Oh, it likes to zoom in too, which is interesting. But we'll just go with yeah. Okay. No, man, it's all good. I can hear you and I can see your face, so that's that's good enough for me. Let's just dig into your background and just start at the beginning. You know, what age did you become interested in art and design?
So, I mean, it's long way. Sometimes we think that we are inspired from a certain age, and then as you grow up, start kind of digging into the roots and what are those things that kind of inspired you, and as you grow up, you kind of start digging and learn more and more things that how come I'm the person who I am today, and why are the things that I like, what are the roots of that, and it's as you grow up more and more, it's more you kind of understand that. So I would say for me personally, I come from a very artistic family. My grandfather was an actor and one of the founders of my hometown theater, and my uncles as well were into arts. One of my uncles also was a cinematographer, and the son of my uncle, my cousin, and the whole family, the whole thing. And one of my other uncles actually also was doing kind of a graphic design at the time. He was doing more signs for shops, and then at one point doing garments for what do you call that, for the prints and for shirts and hoodies and things like that. But we are talking about the 50 years of communism of Albania during that time. So he grew up during that era where you could do everything by hand, and probably all around the world that's how it was supposed to do. But I remember when I was really young that my uncle had a few sheets of paper which was transparent and had these typefaces on it they were looking back, I found them 2 or 3 years ago on his house, and I was looking at those and were Helvetica, Futura, and all these, and I'm wait, I've seen this before since I was a kid, and I was taking those and just putting on A4 paper, just a random paper, and you scratch it and you transfer the letters into that. So finding these 2 years ago, I found the roots that I remember, those that I completely had forgotten from my memory. And and growing up, then I fell in love with music, and then from music, I always love photography, cinematography, and everything combined together. So I always love the crafts, the arts, and technology as well. And every time here we are into this new NFT space and technology, and still trying to learn as much as I can about it, and how can I fit, because it's for me it's inspiring, any new tool, any new technology that comes along that you can be creative at, it's a new opportunity to integrate that into your workflow, and that has been something from an early stage probably in my life, always exciting about new stuff, and and there is still that kid in me that kind of enjoys that part of discovering new stuff, and probably considering them as toys. I always say that. But it's true. So it's a new app came out about you can do that and that.
Right.
Oh, it's exciting. Why not just dig into it and see how I can integrate it in my workflow?
we'll
But
get to
it's that's sorry. Yeah.
That's fine. You mentioned workflow. I'm going to definitely get to that. Definitely get to your process and all these new tools that you like to combine, and as well as a kind of a traditional approach as well. But so I mean, okay, that's a bit of backstory. There's history in your family there. When did you become like serious about digital art?
I I mean, like I always saw digital art as a way of for me like to serious, like in sense of like I saw it serious when I actually got the first client. I actually got paid for it, probably like most of people. But like I remember like I started with music actually, and like in the side I was doing a little bit of photography, and then like using Photoshop or like some other apps just to manipulate the artworks that I needed for my music. Like I was one of the few kids actually in school, and back when I was growing up, like in Albania, the internet was really bad, and of course you had internet cafes and like home internet, which was really bad, like dial-up, and like like very limited. Also, in like places where you can actually download things, especially even for music and to make stuff like that. So like funny story on that, which I think would be cool. I never shared this. It was a period that I wanted to have the latest music to listen to. So what I was doing, like I was waking up early in the morning. I had like this satellite that I could watch like a lot of TV station all over the world, like from MTV, from to all kind of, and like that was way better than internet back then, because like like you could listen to new songs and new music from being able from that. And what I was doing, I was like waking up early in the morning before going to school, like I remember Cool Edit Pro, which is now Adobe Audition, I think, but like I don't know which version. I was like just putting on MTV since in the morning, like put record, connected to my computer on the living room, and just letting it record for like 8 hours, 9 hours. And when I was coming back from school, I was just going there into the computer. Like I had like 8 hours of recording to look at, and I was like literally like going through all of that. I was like, oh, there is this song that I always wanted to have, and I was just chopping that, exporting that as an MP3, and I was making these CDs, like giving it to friends and family in school. And like I always wanted to do these covers, right? And because I was doing a little bit of photography, as I grew a little bit older, like music, I started producing music and like chopping samples from all these songs. And like anyway, and came to a point that I kind of had to use that photography aesthetic and like use Photoshop. I think Photoshop 5, 6 I think was the first one that I kind of started experimenting with. And yeah, I was putting these covers together, like actually printing them and like putting them on the CD covers. And yeah, that's how I started. But then as I grew with it, like I saw that I had this contract with a label while I was producing music, and they were like able to release some of my songs, and for like a 14, 15-year-old kid, it was like exciting, especially coming from Albania and being able to talk to a label. And was the time of then later on MySpace, where music was like the place, like MySpace was the place to release your music. And like, it was amazing. Great times when you think about it, like how much has evolved. But from that, like the label asked me like, oh, we love the cover you did for your album. How about like you do some more all other stuff for us as well? When we like, can you do some graphic design on the side? And I was like, this is cool. This is going to be a nice way for me also to explore this as a thing. And yeah, I remember on early days, my parents were a bit anxious about like, I was not doing great on school on other stuff. And they were like, should I, like, you're not doing great, like your grades suck. And I was like, yeah, because like I'm not interested on those stuff, I'm just interested on this stuff. And I was like, yeah, but your music sounds just like noise. and it was funny, like now looking back, I always come back to him and say like, you remember all that noise? Like I'm not making music, but I'm kind of making music now. But and that's how I kind of switched to graphic design. And then at one point I wanted to make like a website where I had all my work, music work and things like that, and came to a point that I was like, I still can't afford to hire someone to kind of, and the time was also like you couldn't find that many people to online to code a website or anything like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna figure out how to make a website by myself. And like from GeoCities, if everybody remembers that, I sound like really old. I made like all these, like I'm just 32, okay, but I'm not that old. Yeah, so and then I kind of learned how to make a website myself, and just putting things together from HTML and CSS and like from the Flash, and came to a point I was like, I finished high school, and like all my friends actually left to universities, like left my hometown and went to other places, and I was like, I need to figure out a way to like what I want to study. And I knew that I wanted to study like computing science, multimedia related to all the arts and things. So I stayed 1 year alone on my hometown. All my friends were left. So that year was me just focusing on doing my arts and work. And that was like life changing, because like I had all the time in the world to do nothing except what I wanted to. And like that's when I got the first gigs to do some local client work, and I got paid. And that's when I realized that, you know what, like, and then went to university, studied computing science and multimedia. And while I was studying there, I already had clients working on, and like I was working mostly on like UI, web design, and also doing some graphic design, like more for commercial work and things like that on side. But came to a point, especially the last year of university, that I had so much work that I really wanted just to get rid of it. And I was like, I'm going to just, finish everything in time so I can focus on my career and work. So I did that. And thankfully I finished school early on. And yeah. And that's then just moved on with, like from agency, then freelancing mostly. And yeah, I moved to, and I think 2006, when I started the Baugasm project, was like actually in 2012, I think, something like that. I started like a project called 60 Designs, where I was still working on an agency locally, and I was kind of really fed up of everything, like the client work that I was getting. It was like all kind of things that every time I tried to do something on my side, they were like, no, we want it this way. And I was like, you know what? Kind of fed up with this. I was still doing a lot of side projects for myself, but I always considered like focusing on my art as a primary thing, and really important, as much as important as working for a 9 to 5 job. And I always wanted to find the fun and on everything that I'm doing. And like, that job was taking out of the fun. And like, because of a like a protest way of that, of me finding like a project to focus on, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna challenge myself to create like a poster every day for 60 days. And this was like in 2012, I think, something like that. And then I continued working with it. I made like 40 posters. I failed to meet the 60 posters, because I was just posting those on my personal website, and like
Right.
I didn't get, like, I was just posting them. I was like, you know what, kind of tired. I kind of made all these. And then in 2016, like, was cool, because like I was already using Instagram, and then I figure out like, you know what, it's pretty cool. Like Instagram is like social media is same way as like Behance or like any other platform where you post your work. And why not just post my work on, like Instagram, similar to how I would post it on Dribble or Behance and things like that. And I couldn't post it on my personal account because it was mostly photography and cinematography. And I decided, like, just go back to this project I started a couple of years ago and like stick for 1 year and see what I can do with it and be consistent. And that kind of grew up. And yeah, probably you'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah,
Yes.
I mean, sorry, that was long, but yeah.
No, it's fine. I mean, we can talk about the Baugasm project, and this is essentially, this is it really. We're looking at years of work and dedication, and this was you challenging yourself to create these posters like every day. I mean, when you, I'm going to come back to you, because you did 40, right, just right off the bat, and that's pretty good going, consistently just putting something together. So like, I would never consider that as like a fail. You use that word, and I don't think it's fair to say that you failed, because obviously that's an achievement. But and I think I'm I'm scrolling through as well while I do this, just so we can get to like the very beginning of the journey. But I think I can't do it. There's just too many. How many?
Yeah.
But then to come back and revive this project and then just kind of, you know, just keep going, you know, and do it consistently, and just, I mean, form this style that, so much so that people have now kind of, I don't know, kind of almost plagiarized it a bit, and sort of taken it to, you know, like I did Google, I googled, well, you can Google Baugasm, and, you know, obviously you come up and things like that, but then there's the make it look like Baugasm tutorial and things like that, you know. And obviously you're a teacher as well. I know this from you know, some research and stuff, and you have various classes. So I guess you've taught people your style, and then they've kind of taken it on. And, you know, we can touch on this if you like. I mean, we don't have to go into too much detail, but I mean, how does that make you feel when you don't, you know, you can see, obviously it's inspiring. It's great that you inspire people. And I teach as well. And so there is, you know, I love it when people take the lesson and then they put something else on top of it. So it's not just, you know, what I showed them. How do you feel when you see something that doesn't hit the mark, and also, you know, and also people like actually replicating your tutorial almost badly as well?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, since in the beginning, when I started with the Baugasm project, was like, in the beginning was just a personal thing, just for me to explore like how far I can take it, how much work I can do, like how I can expand my skills. And when it came to the point that I was just, you know, kind of I came to a point that I was just sharing actually on Snapchat at the time, like the process behind while doing every one of these posters. And like my Snapchat kind of blew up with messages of people saying, "Oh, show us a little bit more, show us a little bit more," and so on. And at that point, I realized that, you know, like people kind of like this stuff, and like maybe I should share a little bit more. But like my goal with everything was like just getting you to know a little bit more about the process, and like just be consistent, like the process of the mindset of working, and not just actually replicating exactly what I'm doing, because how I'm doing it is more about like figuring out something that you know, building up your skills to a point that you can just be creative every day, whatever it is. Doesn't mean if it is like, looking back at most of my posters, I kind of like, from a year of a poster, probably I would choose like 50, 60 of those that I really like. And like going back to the first year, probably I would be less than that. Now, looking back now, but for me, that's a journey. It's like looking back at it, like my style, I always say this, it has evolved, and like it's still evolving. Like, because for me, it was a journey, a personal journey of like starting this project and kind of learning as I go with it, like learning as well, like how to cope with the whole thing, that everybody started kind of getting inspired from my work, and like working on it. And like I see a lot of people who got inspired from my work early on now have their own kind of aesthetic. They moved and those are the people who actually, I think, took the essence from what I was trying to teach from the beginning. Like those are the people who actually didn't just saw the tutorial like step by step how I was doing that thing, but while like things that I was also, especially things that I was sharing also on like my Instagram stories, was really important, because I was showing like behind the process of the posters, and like all this, not just the other stuff that I was doing, but this was the most important part, because like it was the mentality of like being consistent and like working on your skills and learning new software and like learning new things to experiment with, and like using social media as a way of like sharing your journey while you're doing this as a thing. And like probably for me was like a really exciting time and really fun time to explore that, and like to see and I was able, you know, from that I was able to I was lucky to go to some conferences and meet a lot of designer friends, and like travel a little bit the world, and also work with some really nice projects with some really nice clients. And yeah, it was exciting, and to this day, I think it's still Baugasm. It's like very dear to my heart, and I'm kind of it made this kind of a, let's say, like a alter ego of my work, and trying to, like, like a brand of it. But
Yeah.
like, I don't like to call it as a brand, but more is like a my side of graphic design. It's like Vasjen's side of graphic design, while I
Yeah.
also do other stuff on the side. But yeah, I mean, like, that was, but like coping with everyone too, that was kind of getting inspired for me. I feel like in the beginning I was a bit frustrated, because I was like, but then I was like, you know what, I'm just sharing this stuff. Like, still, there were only a few, like every time I was seeing someone that was like nailing the thing, and like actually adding more to it, and like coming up with a lot of other stuff, I was like, whoa, like these are the people that are doing really great. And yeah, and I see some of those from now are really big designers in the scene, and like they have their own following, they have their own clientele, and like they're doing really great, and really excited. And it's fun to see that progress, and like and consider those also my friends, and seeing, being inspired from a little bit of my work. So that's
Yeah.
good.
It's cool. That's great when people just go beyond. And I mean, this is something that you do as well when you're working with clients. You know, I've seen project you did with Adobe and Coca-Cola, and like, you know, the requirement was one piece and you went and did something like 16 or something. And you know, how where's that kind of work ethic and that mentality come from, like over delivering? You know, it's pretty impressive. And I can show that project while you talk about it.
Yeah, for me, always has been like every project that I take on since early on, like I kind of got this mentality of like, in every project that I want to get involved, I want to consider it as a project that I really want to work on. And it's not just for the money, and it's not just because the client is big or whatever. So like when it came to this point, they just wanted me to do something with a circle, with my style, and like doing something with a circle, with my style, it's like part of Baugasm, because circles in general is like my go-to starting point for every project. And like I love circles, because it's like it can turn, there you can see, like it can turn into a square, it could be anything. And like with a circle, like I could do thousands of just play every day, every hour with it. And like when they approached with this, they wanted to do something with a kind of a different style, but with their colors. And I was like, you know what, like i just I'm just gonna keep playing with this, and like see how much I can get. And like, in the end, when I talk to the client and like present, I was like, here is the second. They were like, oh, this is nice. Yeah, I have also this one. And they were like, oh, this is cool. But I also have this one, and I have this one. And they were like, wait, what? Like, can we choose one? I was like, yeah, but if you want, you can use all of them, because I had fun working on those. And then I kind of animated those, and yeah, it was a funny story. But also as a story as well. Here we are, like this is like 3-4 years ago, maybe more. But here we are still mentioning these, and in the end, even for me as a story to tell to the client, and like as a story for the project, is really nice narrative to talk about it. Because like, you see, every project doesn't need to be just a graphic design job that you have to finish for a client. But if you involve yourself a little bit more into it, and like feel part of what, even if it is for just marketing and them to sell their product, in the end, is like, this is the field that I choose to work on, right? Like, why not just have fun with it, and like see how far I can take it. And yeah, for me, was always, it's been like that. It's still like that. And in every project, I try to give a little bit of myself. And then if the client doesn't like it, then maybe they chose the wrong graphic designer. Because like, yeah, I think like that's my mentality. I'm not a agency that you just come and I have to pitch something. Most of the clientele that I'm trying to work with, it's like usually the clients are like, they choose to work with me because they like the work that I do, and they know what I will be able to deliver in a way. And sometimes I even take challenges on getting out of my comfortable zone, and that's the fun part, especially if you can afford that, and do that for clients. Sometimes it's risky, stressful, but it's fun,
Yeah.
because like it makes you kind of enjoy the process as well, and like have a few sleepless days and nights.
Well, that's how you learn and grow, isn't it? You get out of the comfort zone, and then
Exactly.
become stronger, better artist overall.
Yeah, but that was also the Baugasm project. That was the idea. Was like, how do you grow if you cannot afford to risk in any client work? Like when we think about it, like when we work with client work, we are so scared to get out of the comfortable zone or like do something that we never have done, because it's like, client, I don't know if they're going to like it. I don't know if they, I don't want to screw it up this time. So every time we think about that, every time we always try to be within kind of a box of things that we can try as a new thing and like explore. But like having your own project, like you don't have that. Like you don't have to care of like what you're gonna do. And this is like and this is the cool part about the Baugasm. And I highly encourage everyone to just try that if you ever wanted to. Like just find a personal project, just work on it and be consistent, and then just probably you will find a way to grow as an artist as well, and your skills are going to grow, and you're going to always ask more from yourself. And like and implementing that a little bit with the client work, it's like that exercise that you did for your personal project, it's going to play very well later on your client work as well.
This is great stuff. And a lot of times I find clients don't, sometimes they do, sometimes, but most of the time they don't have enough time to let you explore and develop an idea. It's more like the brief, it's more rigid, you have to get it done, and it's in a very small window. I love those jobs where you do have a bit of time to experiment and do a bit of R&D and develop it. But this is another thing for personal work where you've got a digital sketchpad almost. You might as well just get these ideas out, and then you can take all the successes from those experiments, and it doesn't matter if you fail or whatever, because there will be successes, and then they feed into the client work, the work that ends up paying the bills. But this is a common theme that I've been, I can see, and anyone who's been following the podcast for the episodes that we've had on, our 9th at the moment, personal work pays off. It's a common trend here. You put in that time for the Baugasm project, and it was years of work, but it got you recognized by Adobe and by other clients, and there you are. You got to travel with it. There's so much that comes from just I don't know, taking an idea and just running with it, and just being consistent about it too is a key, I think. So yeah.
Also, like the cool part is like is the fact that when I talk with friends and like everyone, that always, like even with myself, sometimes like if you really desire something and you are really passionate about it, it will come naturally. You just need to get started with it. But like I have a lot of things that I want to do, and always find like maybe I don't have the right time. I need to find time during the day to do it. And I know those things are just me wanting to do them, but it's not actually me really wanting to do them. Because but like and that's the part that like you should consider. Like if you think about, like if you want to start like a project or something, like a personal thing, always think about it as a way of like how can I exercise my skills with this project? For example, if you are into clothing, like, I'm just going to make like a shirt, like a graphic for a shirt. And one every week, like every day, I'm going to make a t-shirt for myself and just use that as a garment for me to just go out and like, but like there is so many things, like even just make up products, like just make up a product, like, I don't know, like a bottle of water, and just do the design for it. And like maybe make like 100 of these bottles and see how you exercise your skills within that frame and that thing. So it's always like, challenging, and like always with the idea of like kind of exercising yourself and seeing how you would be playing within that narrative of having a project and like committing to it.
Yes.
And it's going to grow your skills, your mentality, the way how when you decide it's enough, when it's that it's all good. Like there are going to be days that you're going to be really tired of it, like you don't want to do it, but you're just going to do something pretty quick. And
yeah, you've touched on a few things there that I'm going to come to. You with these exercises of being creative and kind of flexing that creative muscle. Do you ever get stuck these days then, or any days where you're just kind of like, nope, not today? And if you do feel like that, how do you overcome those days?
So, like, if I'm in the studio and like every day that I'm in the studio, I have to finish something. Like I feel like if I didn't do something today, I would feel really bad in the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
There are days like that I did one thing, but there are days that I'm like procrastinating the whole day, or like taking care of other tasks or like, for example, probably everybody, I mean, some people would resonate with this, but like, imagine those days that you have so much work you have to do that you do everything else except that. And those are the days, like I even saw a tweet the other day of like, I don't know who was on Twitter, but like saying like, the most inspiring days for me are the days that I have to do so much work, and are inspiring days to do other things rather than that project that I'm supposed to finish. So like, let's say I have this big client work that I have to do tomorrow, and today I just did something completely different rather than that. And that's me bad managing the time, but like that happens. So I'm that kind of person. But in the end of the day, I kind of know the time that everything is going to take me from practice and like the years working on it. So I'm really good at estimating how long project's going to take and how long I need to work on something. So I build like kind of like all, that from Hangover that show up like all these numbers and like
Yeah,
all the timeline of like everything. And then, it comes a moment that you still have to rush and do all that. But like, yeah, there are days that I feel like, I'm not creative and like, I don't know what to do. But the cool thing is that the Baugasm project taught me that you cannot be creative if you don't just open the software or like something new. Like if I let's say I start on Photoshop, right? And like with just a blank canvas, and like I want to do something, and then I'm like, what should I do? Like you have to find something. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ditch Photoshop for now, and like maybe go and watch another software that I haven't used or I wanted to learn, like open Houdini and like see what simulations I can do that, and like spend an hour learning that. And then after that, you are like, oh, cool, this came out pretty cool. Maybe I can use this thing and then move it to Cinema and like render it and then move it to Photoshop. And, like here, I got like an artwork. But if it is something, it depends for what you're doing. For me, having used to do the Baugasm posters, always had like a reason to do them. But now that I'm kind of slowed down a little bit with the posters, I'm like, like I don't have like everyday reason to finish something, but I finish like client work or like any other projects that I'm working on. I always want to find a moment to kind of finish and wrap up something in the end of the day. There are days that I do a lot of things, but there are days that I do one thing, and I try to finish the day with finishing one project at least.
Yeah, I think that's yeah. I mean, that's good. It mentally like allows you to kind of close the door on that. And I mean, well, what does a typical day look like for you then? Because you can manage your time obviously. So how are you structuring your day and kind of working in life around work?
Yeah, it's a pretty boring, I would say, in general, of like how because my home is pretty close to the studio, but like I'm lucky because I can wake up whenever I want, so I decide to sleep as much as I need that day. And then probably I come to the studio around, I don't know, like 10, 11 a.m. And then I just have a coffee here and just, kind of procrastinate a little bit, like watch a few videos, like, maybe have to do some errands around the city. Maybe I go and go do something. I come back later on. And then my day fully starts kind of around 12, 1 p.m., like midday. And then, usually from that, up until now it's like, I don't know, like almost 11 p.m. There are days that I leave around 10 p.m. from the studio. But yeah, I make fun sometimes because like I tell my friends that my home is like a hotel that I just got to sleep at one point. But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I try. I'm doing this, and I'm trying to change actually the way how I manage my time, because like I'm trying at this point to do like consider coming to the studio similar to like a job.
Oh yeah,
In a
9 to
way of
5.
like coming on a certain hour and leave a certain hour, because like I feel like it's just life became like being here. And of course, like I love being here, like I love having everything that I need around the studio, like being creative, but it comes a point that, you know, I kind of need a little bit of time out of work, because like there are days that are very stressful, and like but yeah, the normal days like that, just come to the studio, um and you know, like start working, and then it goes like hours. There are days that are like 4 or 5 days just pass the same way, and I'm like, what? Like the week went fast, so you know, passed so fast. So it's yeah.
You get
And
into
then yeah, and during like COVID, like everything, it's like, you know, even more. And even with I saw this tweet the other day. If it was like January NFTs and December, that was like, yeah, it's like that that
yeah.
whole month just passed really fast. Yeah,
It's that like crypto time that you know, goes so
exactly.
fast. Yeah. I mean, there's yeah, it's safe to say then you're a bit of a night owl. Then you tend to get the inspiration at towards the end of the day, and then suddenly like everything fires up and you just start flowing, and it's just like, whoa, let's go.
Yeah,
Guess that's
yeah. It's yeah. I mean, like always has been like that. I mean, probably everyone who is we all get kind of more comfortable a little bit more when we are like, you know, the day is a little bit more chill, like there is not the chaos outside of, you know, people going around and people, or maybe people coming in my studio randomly. You know, like it's a little bit more chill. But yeah, it's yeah. But I'm trying to change that though. Like I'm trying to consider a little bit more like, you know, just go back home at one point and like do have a little bit of free time to do nothing maybe some days. So
What would you do in that free time then? What are you trying to get back to?
not sure, probably like socialize a little bit more, and especially like this last year, um like for example, it's been a little bit difficult socializing and stuff like that, so like it's needed. I mean, like, yeah, also for me, for the last few years, kind of and I traveling actually, like I really want to, like now I'm finishing like a bunch of projects that I need to finish before the end of the year. And you know, at one point I will just want to just, you know, kind of travel a little bit and like take some time off from everything. So yeah, I mean, like, and focus maybe family, and like just you know, go travel around the country a little bit, and yeah, spend a little bit more time with family maybe.
Yeah. Do you have? We can all see you have this amazing studio space. How important is it to you to have an area like this where you can be creative?
I think it's the best investment I ever did, and I keep saying this because like, and I used to. It's from a person who used to have like a, let's say, like I used to work from home early on, and like and then I was working on an agency, and then came a point that home is home, right? Like I don't want to be stuck there all day, so I wanted like a reason to get out of home, like dress in the morning, and like, you know, just feel like I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was lucky to find the space here. So yeah, for me it's the most important thing ever, because like I have like a place where, and I'm lucky to have this, because like I found like the perfect place. Like every time, actually, I had like a smaller studio than this before this one, and was pretty close here. And like I was always passing by this place that I staying right now, and like I always saw this and was like, oh, it would be so cool to have the studio there. But it was like another office back then. And then one day I see that they left, and I was like, can ask them if I can afford it. And then, yeah, I kind of fought hard to get it, and I kind of got it. And I'm happy. Of course, now I wish I would be a little bit bigger, because like there are so many things that I want to do. And this is not too tall. I want to find like a place that is maybe a little bit more taller, because like I'm doing a lot of photography and cinematography as well. And like now with Unreal Engine and like all the 3D stuff, like I want to explore that a little bit. And like I want to have a space a little bit bigger to like just, I don't know.
You want to get in one of those suits, don't you? And just do some of the mocap and just get on the stage.
Totally.
That stuff is amazing. It's so incredible.
It is.
And it's
For me, this is also like, this is why the reason, like, you should, if you ever should invest into something, invest into things that make you creative. And for me, like this was the main reason to have the studio, because like I wanted to come here and like literally I have things that I probably never use it, but I bought them because like I thought that if I ever gonna feel like I want to do something and I don't have it, I will probably never do it. So like I even bought like this thing. It's pretty cool. I don't know if you can see it. I don't break anything. But it's a rug maker. It's like a machine that you can make rugs.
Right.
I saw this on TikTok and was amazing. I was like, I'm gonna have that thing and like see if I can do my designs as rugs. And I use that. Yeah, I used it like 2-3 times, and I'm still figuring out how to. I messed it up some of them, but like the last one, I got it pretty cool. But for me, it's like having tools similar to like anything like on your computer, like trying new things. And like this is the idea of this, of having the studio, was like coming here and like today, maybe I don't want to touch cinema, or like I don't want to work on Photoshop, and maybe I'm just gonna make a rug, and that's like excitement. So yeah, I think it's really important on having like a space to be creative.
I'm kind of getting a sense of your, the tools that you use to create digital art. Let's talk a bit about the process, because do you use these tools? It doesn't sound to me like you use them in a kind of linear way. Like there's no sort of pipeline that you would have to go through. You choose the right tool for the job, at the time. It's like, and you can bounce back and forth between them. So let's talk about your process and just describe, typically you don't have to go, because I think you adapt it to whatever it is. That's my sense anyway. But just your process for creating digital art.
So yeah, it all depends on like what I'm trying to do. Like if it is something, it all depends. Like if I would refer to any of the Baugasm posters, for example, if I would be making one, or like just an artwork in general, like it all depends. Like I do the research in the beginning, like I do some brainstorming, or like I just kind of, I have books around here, but also like I like to see random things. For example, I would watch probably like a documentary about a director, or like a documentary about something, and then move into like I find something, like I don't know, like find someone who did like the design of a book, and like all books, and do some research on that, or like some I don't know, random artist from some place in the world, and like do some research of that. Or like, and then at one point I was like, I love Tumblr, because like you can go there and it's like a very unique place, and you can find all random things more than actually Pinterest. And like like just build like a way of like spend like usually I spend like an hour, 2 hours a day, just kind of inspiring myself overall, like just procrastinating, I call it, but it's like creative procrastination in a way. It's like just you browsing things that you like. It's like, oh, this chair is amazing, or like, oh my god, this interior, it's so cool. I wish my cabin in the woods would be like that, like, and then you see like a poster on that cabin, and it's like, oh wow, who made that poster? And like and you are like digging, like all this stuff. Yeah, it's like and then one point, like in the end of the day, it's like, oh cool, like you see something, it's like, oh, I got an idea, what if I do that in cinema and then export it in After Effects, animate it, and then maybe I add some texturing from the iPad and like do some drawings on top, and then move it to Photoshop and it's an animated poster. So like there is no way, but if I would be starting, usually I have like an idea of things that I experiment with. Like mostly is about experimenting with a certain thing and then see what I can get out of it, and then where I can move it next to improve it or like play around with it. Like there are days that probably I started something in cinema just because I was trying like a new tool or like a new plugin or like a new thing that I never tried before and came out pretty cool. And I was like, oh, maybe I should move this in, I don't know, like iPad and like, just draw some lines on top and then move it to Illustrator to add some 2D shapes and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is no like probably like a way of like standard way of starting.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I refer to it as a pipeline, and you're moving it through stages and getting to the end result. Well, I think if we're talking about that process of taking things and experimenting and just trying and seeing and stuff, I think that Adobe Remix project that you worked on is a great example of blending the physical with the digital, and just all these things that you've talked about, dude. Like this is the project for people who haven't seen it. But do you want to just tell us how this started out, and maybe just explain, like, how the various sort of techniques, processes, and elements that made this final image, and also how long it took you as well. Actually, I'm quite interested in the timeline for this.
I think this all was done in like 2-3 weeks or something like that. But like, so the funny thing with this is one of those projects that really, really stressed me out in so many levels, because like at this point I felt so confident I could do a project this big in the amount of time that I kind of regretted that I kind of so to start over, like the idea with that project was like Adobe reached out and was like, we want you to do the Adobe Remix. And I was like, unbelievable. I will love it. I will do it. And they were like, we just want like one image of you experimenting with the Adobe logo and like do something with it. But also like maybe play around with this new tool that we have, which was like AI powered way of like style transfer, that you can basically add an image and another image and they mix it up and like it gives you something else. And I was like, that's amazing, because like what I can do with it is like treat it the same way as like all these other things that I was previously mentioning, like add it on my workflow as a way of like me doing something there and like shooting something there and like adding this to the workflow. And then I was like, yeah, I could do this, would be straightforward. Like, I kind of build all that numbers and things like how I can do it. But then I was like, reach out back to them. I was like, what if I do a video? Like, what if I do an animation of it? And they were like, sure. Are you sure you can do it in time? And I was like, yes, I have a 1080 Ti graphics card that can render most of the things. And oh my God, like sleepless nights. I was trying to animate the character. Looking back at it, the character looks really bad at one point, and like there are so many things that I wanted to change back then. But like for me, the Adobe Remix project was not the final video, but was like the final artwork that you see and the process of like how integrating this. But the video was me challenging myself to do something that I've never done before in the amount of time that I was given to do one artwork and not a video of a minute or something. But this is one of those things that, kind of always give to the client more than they ask for, but like
giving yourself a bit of a heart attack at the same time. It's
exactly. Stressful. And like looking back at it, it's a very good lesson to be learned in a way of like. But I'm happy because the final image itself came out pretty cool, and I
really cool.
I like it. Like I could have done things differently on it, but it was.
Yeah, you could have done things different, but this is the result that you came to out of like the weeks of work and stuff. And I love the depth in it and the lighting. You know, there's the way the logo comes out at you, and then you've got these layers going back and stuff, and there's texture and, you know, the colors, and it's just I find it very striking. I There is an animation which people can come to this project and play through, and also one that, you know, you just check out this project. But one thing that I really like is seeing all the process here, the making of, getting, you know, you're drawing on here, and then getting the paints out, mixing them up. And is this the software that they were talking about, where you give it an image and then it remixes it to?
Yeah. I think now it's part of Photoshop, isn't it? I think they integrated it into Photoshop.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
this was the prototype that I was using. Yeah, and by the way, in the same time, I had also to record the process of, like, while doing this project.
Yes, the process video, and that's it. And it's just like, oh, we need that shot of you working, taking a photo and using the prism and kind of all this, you know, doing a bit of rigging, and go back and do that and screen record, and it's a lot to keep, you know, in your head.
Exactly.
All this
in the end, sorry.
Yeah, the prism thing is interesting. Sorry, go on.
No, I just wanted to add something, because I thought it is very interesting, and you're touching on it, is like the fact that the part of the video was that, like, showing the Adobe Remix itself is the process. It's like the process of doing this thing. It's like how you can combine all these things together to come up with something creative in the end, which is digital, as that final thing was. But like how you can combine the physical world with the AI and 3D world, and like using the camera and recording the prism and making things together. Sorry if I cut you off there. Like I don't. You can.
No, not at all. The process video is awesome, and I recommend that everyone just go and check out Vasjen's Behance and watch it. This led you to speak at Adobe Max as well, I take it. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was lucky to get invited there and like present a little bit of the project and talk on Adobe Max and share the process, and like it was amazing because I got to meet so many cool artists as well there, and like it was the first time at Adobe Max, and like be able to see all these designers and creators and artists that have been, you know, kind of some of them checking them out from the internet, and friends that I knew from a very long time, and making new friends there was amazing. It's if you can go there, I think it's a really good spot to go and make friends.
So you were saying there were some artists that you met that were amazing. I mean, are there other artists that inspire you?
There are a lot. I usually, so there are a lot of artists that I like, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know who I can mention. Like, I love artists, like, especially with the NFT space, made me figure out so many cool young artists, like even other artists that I never was able to see before, because like this space just brought so many new talent, and like old talent, and like everybody to the space that you never had seen them before. Like, because like, you know, like during the day, and this is what I was saying to a friend of mine a couple of days ago, was like, it's been a few years for me that I don't scroll anymore on Instagram. Like I just came to a point that I was using Instagram as a way of like just me posting the work, and like chatting with a few people, and that's it. Like it was so difficult to just keep up with everything, and like browsing and to see what everybody else is posting, and like even around, like, you know, going into, and I feel like sometimes doing that, it's good, but also it's bad sometimes. And I saw myself like, because you, in a way or another, you start getting influenced by everything that you see around in your work, that is a little bit you know, kind of gets in subconsciously on the way how you think and you process your work. So I like to keep that, but like seeing the NFT space, like all these new artists, it's amazing to see all of them, you know, kind of coming out of on, you know, on my radar, and seeing their work, and it's like, what? Like I've seen so much cool stuff. Like nothing on top of my head now, but like, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of noise and things to filter, but I think you find some gems, and it's amazing when you do. I've been discovering some new artists this week as well, and yeah, it's always inspiring. Are there any so oh yeah, music, right? I wanted to talk about this just because it's you know, you obviously you create music, and how how important is music to you in your life, in your work?
I think it is really important because like as I mentioned in the beginning,
In
like
those early
you know,
days?
everything
Yeah.
started from that, and like electronic music especially has been like a big like influence on my work, and like from the aesthetic, like was a point that I was collecting posters from local DJs, and like when I was traveling to shows, and like I was just ripping up the posters from the street, and like I still have them on my hometown, on my parents' house, on my room, like all still hanging there. Like those are the initial graphic design roots. Seeing those posters and like seeing how the typography was used, and like, but yeah, music is it's really important, and like I feel like you know, I feel like music comes with a certain aesthetic, the music that you listen to, and like um, I don't know why, but I figured out, like I was just watching yesterday a video on YouTube about this very talented like a 3D artist who does sculpting and like does these sci-fi characters. I don't know what exactly was his name, but he listens to hardcore and you know music, and like, and I could expect someone to be like goth. I'm messing up things here, but like the way that he was doing his art, I could see his art on the music he was listening and the guitar he was playing, right? And I could see that, but like I couldn't see like the stuff that I'm doing with the music that he was listening to. I don't know why, because like I thought like the stuff that I'm doing has a little bit more of like electronic to it. It has these different kind of bass lines. It has this experimental sounds, like sound design in it, and what I love about music is like, and there are a few artists that I really love, and like the artists that I love the most is like when I listen to their music, I can visualize the way how they made their music, because like you hear a sound, and it's like, oh my god, this is sound design. It's like this sound. What instrument is it? Like how did they make this special thing that is like very unique to it, right? And that's the music that I listen to, and of course, yeah, it's plays really. I recently did like a cover from one of my favorite bands, Wavel. I don't know if you know Wavel, but you should check it out because they're amazing. They're from Netherlands, and yeah, so I do this kind of other work, which is like not graphic design, but is a bit more of like experimental photography, 3D, inspired from my photography, but doing it in 3D. And like when they reached out, I was like, I got so many people actually reaching out to do covers with that kind of style, that I was always like waiting for the right artist to work and collaborate and do that style. And when they reached out, I was like, okay, this is the one. Like, this is the because I've been listening to their music already, and like it fits so well. So like if you don't know Wavel, I highly recommend checking all their albums because it's amazing if you're into electronic music.
Give it a shot. Yeah. Pretty sort of open to most musical styles. So yeah, that's really cool. And I take it you listen to music yourself when you're creating.
Yes.
Does it, you know, you have to have music on, or you...
I think most of the times I do. Sometimes I listen to podcasts as well. Like I want to have something on the background to also like distract me from. But if I'm into that creative, like podcast usually is more like when doing technical things, like you know, like I'm moving this thing a little bit more there. It's not like that euphoria that you have of like oh feeling creative, like you're liking what you're getting out of. And but yeah, like especially if you're doing something in 3D, it's not that euphoria that you're getting out of like giving the final things in Photoshop, or like you know, it's a bit more technical, like oh move this there, oh move this node there, and see their lightning and like all this stuff. I mean, it's part of the process, but like when I'm doing that, mostly I listen to podcasts. But like music, it's when I get into the final piece, it's more experimental, more less technical.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I get that. There's certain music that just works for the type of task, and
Exactly.
yeah. Let's talk about your card, the Ace of Diamonds, and how did you become aware of playing arts?
So, long time ago, actually, like I don't know how, but on my radar came playing arts as this card, and it was amazing when I saw the fact that like there were all these cards made from all these different artists, and was amazing, and actually on a deck of cards, I have it here. Actually, had it since yesterday, but
Hey.
I don't know which. Vlad, if you're watching, I don't know which year is this, but I got this a couple of years ago. I love it. And then I don't know how it was. It was like me talking with Vlad at some point, and it was like he was like, oh, I'm doing the crypto version. Like, let's maybe you should do it like that. I was like, yeah, why not? And the card. Um, you were asking, for how the reason of the card, like the story
Well,
behind the card, right?
well, yeah. I mean, let's take a look at it. I mean, yeah. So let's just have a look at the card itself, and you've combined, your style as well and motion graphics, and so yeah. Let's go through. Did you
So
have a
like
clear
my
idea? Did you have a clear idea for this design, or did you had to iterate many times before you got to this
so
result?
like when we were choosing like the cards a little bit, or like I mean, it was like a more of a like what could be given to an artist, and like how many. And I mean, I don't know how it was. Like I was given the, or did I choose it? I don't remember. But like when I saw this, I was like, okay, cool. Like the ace is like the Ethereum logo as well, and like in same time, um, like a portal, and like like, and also like when you think about it, like the way how I wanted, like in all my work, I don't know if I mentioned this, but like it's really important that even when I do 3D work, I want to have that 2D element to it. Like I want to have that graphic design root to everything that I'm doing, even in 3D, because I feel like it's pretty cool. Because I want to use 3D as a graphic designer, and that's my idea. Like I don't want to do things that are like really. I mean, of course, I can do those, but like I want to have that kind of a 2D and still have a little bit of depth to it. And like this was the aesthetic part of the card, was like I want to have the dark part that you don't know. It's like that scene from um Interstellar, that all these mirrors, all these things are moving, like it's like a fifth dimension or something like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was my idea of having something on the background, like all those stuff moving, and like you don't know time, space, and all that, and then have this thing in the middle which is like powering the whole thing. So that was and I really like I like the simplicity of the card that I got, because it's like ace of diamonds, and it's like very clean as a way, and also like the word, and yeah, I like the minimalistic part of it, and yeah, that gave me a lot of room to experiment with, and have something more abstract as well, but also like aesthetically keep that 2D and 3D part to it.
Yes, very cool. I love like all the kind of refractions and things happening there. Um, it's a
Yeah.
real striking card for sure. Do you have any other favorites in the crypto edition? Just scroll down so you can
I
have a quick look.
do actually. Yeah, let's yeah, I love the two
Which
number
one?
two diamonds, is
Oh
it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love the Rio. I think that's from Rio, right? I mean,
Yes.
I love all of them, but like, don't remember now. Like, if you, yeah, that's pretty cool. But I think the one on the right, far right there, was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll just scroll through because there's a lot of talent here, and it's just kind
The
of blows
one
my
from
mind.
Bram,
Oh,
like
Bram's
that.
card. Yeah, we like Bram. Awesome. Yes.
Yeah, all of these are amazing. There was a think there is another one. Remember?
Did you see the lineup before sort of signing on, and then kind of did that solidify your decision to, or were you just like, I'm in, you know?
No, I think I'm in. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I knew playing arts, and like I knew that what was coming, even if it wasn't for NFTs or like for the crypto edition, you know, even for the cards. I, as I said, like I already, you know, own the deck of cards, because like I basically like the idea of having like something from, and it's like a collectible as well, but it's also like having some works from every artist in a small box, right? And like I never used this as a deck of actually playing.
Right.
It's been more like on my shelf there, just where I have all the books and stuff.
Above my head.
Oh,
there they are.
Oh, you got a few there.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
But and yeah, I mean, just having that. Then when I saw the lineup of the artists, I was like, oh, this is going to be pretty cool. Like, it's amazing to see all those. And then I think at one point there was like I think you had to go and like see all the cards, but you and choose. I don't know how it was in the beginning, but like I was seeing like spots being filled as you go, like you know, like, oh, new artists being added, and you know, that was amazing to.
Oh, that was the reveal, wasn't it? Yeah, when they were just teasing the cards coming through, and yes, yeah, it's just great to see.
No, I think it was an internal thing. I think it was for all. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but like in the beginning, like where everyone was like, I don't think this should be a secret, but anyway, like it was like a list of like all the cards and like which artist was doing what, and they were changing during the time, because like one was like, maybe I don't want to do this one, I want to do this, or like you know, you had to book the card, and I had a few options to choose, and I think that's how it worked. Like I ended up choosing the ace of that I did, and yeah, it's was cool to see like that changing, and like being, oh, this got filled by this artist, and like, you know, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. And yours turned out to be, you know, not only like, you know, amazing artwork, but very successful card as well. Like it's if people go to OpenSea and check out the, you know, the top, I think it's top 10 like highest sells, whatever, it's just right up there. I think sort of many iterations, but yeah, it's a great one. I think there was something, you know, you mentioned a little while back about something for holders of your card. I think we got something that we can tease, wasn't it? Yeah, there's a tweet you put out a while back.
Yeah, I put a tweet. I was like, who is holding my card? And I got something for you. And I wanted to so my idea in the beginning was like, and this was just right after the drop happened. Like I think it was like a week or 2 weeks, a little bit later after the drop. And then I was like, yes, it's so easy to keep up the with everyone, because like everybody got it. And like at one point I was just figuring, I was like, okay, I got all these people's addresses that are holding my card or on the card. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything, and the reason why I did that, it was like, let's see how many of you can hodl on my card. And like with hodling, meaning that, you know, like how actually you're not just having it to flip, right? Like, of course, like most of the collectors are like, you know, like they want to, and even I didn't have my own card. Like there was a moment with the card that I wanted to have one of my cards. And what I did is like, I actually traded one of my Baugasm posters for the card. And I own one of the cards as well. So I'm happy I got that one, but I gave one of my posters away. Which I don't know in long run how it's, but yeah, it's still my work. It's fun to own that. So at one point I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep it for very long, for a period of time, and see how many of these people who already shared the addresses there are still holding on the card.
Right.
And now so probably this weekend someone it's going to get something dropped on airdrop.
Okay, all right. So can people still, you know, come to this tweet and then put their address in, and you can then probably go and check, right, how long they've been holding the card for. So
Yes.
So, but if they hold the card, do they qualify? That's what I'm getting at, because
I mean, like, yeah, if they hold the card, it's at this point, like, I don't know if I can tell that actually. Can I?
I think, well, it's on the blockchain, man. You can see how long it's been. Yes,
Yes.
you can.
That's
So,
the.
So what are you looking for in terms? I mean, or are you just going to be generous and kind of like open this up to people?
Yeah, I'm just gonna randomly. I'm gonna randomly choose a person, and the only qualifiers is the one that been holding the card since the beginning.
Wow,
so that's the only
spicy one here. So you have to be long-term holder, right? Okay.
Yeah, like that's the thing, because like, of course, in the beginning, like my card was selling for very high.
It was,
and probably like some people just probably bought it at later on secondary market. And yeah, so I would like to, like I'm doing like something pretty cool, like an artwork, which I cannot share, but it will be something that it's going to be airdropped.
So this is a 1-of-1, and when you say airdropped, is it going to be you're selecting one person? Is that right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So one wallet address that will get this 1-of-1 by Baugasm holding an ace of diamonds. Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool.
I mean, it's going to be a cool one because it's going to be unique, I would say, and kind of a cool thing to have after owning also the card. But I don't know what you're going to do later on with it. But
you're not going to give too much more away. I can tell. You're just keeping it close to you, like keeping the cards close to your chest here. You just all right. Poker face. All right. I will. I'll be keeping an eye on this. So this coming weekend. Somebody's going to get something from Vasjen, which is pretty awesome. So okay. We're at crypto for sure. We're talking about that, and you have you're on a couple of platforms, and what? I mean, I know that you've actually got, because I was looking. You've recently minted something. You've got a new drop coming out. I guess would you want to talk about Foundation and that? I mean, I don't mind where you want to take it, or you want to start wherever you started with crypto, but it's up to you. We can come back to the drop.
Yes. So I mean, overall, is Foundation is where I keep most of the Baugasm posters. So like the series of posters, and then Rarible is where I have most of the other kind of experimental, like kind of a limited, not having the Baugasm framework, but it's a bit of a Baugasm inspired kind of style. But you can see those ego one and the ones above. You see,
okay,
the cat is a different.
Yeah, it pulls in from Foundation too. I just noticed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But those are more editions than 101s of the artwork.
Yes.
So yeah, and the 101s like from Foundation are like, and the new one that I'm minted yesterday is like one of my favorite posters that I lately have done. Is a little bit of a experimentation on like on so many kind of techniques that I was trying to do, and because it's like one of my favorites, like I meant it because I wanted to put it out there, and I was in the end I decided like maybe I just don't want to list it, and like treat it as a way of like maybe someone who really wants it and like wants to collect it can reach out to me personally, and like just I want to I kind of want to get to know also collectors and like talk to people and like see on their side how they're seeing the art and like how they're thinking on like maybe knowing the artist as well a little bit, and also me knowing the person. So like I'm not in a rush to sell these is it for me is like so special. And also, by the way, all the artworks, all the posters that I'm putting out as a in foundation, like you can see there are only a few. Like think about it. Like if I would be doing like an edition of posters, I have so many from like 2016 till now. So I could have literally just minted all of those and like make like a big edition. But in the end, it's not all about that. It's about having like quality, and I wanted to select the ones that are really my favorites and have those ones minted in there. There might be a point that I'll experiment with all the posters and do something interesting. I have a few ideas and things that but maybe not related to crypto. But so yeah, like that was the idea of the latest mint. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you have a book in the works? The Baugasm project.
I started with a book.
Is it done? I don't know. Is it?
No, it's not done because like the pandemic was on the way, and like it kind of messed up the whole logistic of it. And I'm still looking on continue working on it, but I probably need to find like a new printing place where to do it. So that would happen. That will happen probably next year for sure. Because like yeah, it's been most of the things have been selected. Most of the things are print ready. The layout as well. There are things being added and stuff like that. But yeah,
I'll talk to you about that after the show. There's something that there's an idea for not only printing it but kind of getting it sort of funded and all that, because it takes a lot, doesn't it? And I would love a coffee table book of those prints. So I will let's talk about that afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a note. So okay, let's we got sidetracked there on the book, but it's so you're curating your own collection really from the various Baugasm days, and at the same time you have a good following there, collected by a few, and you mentioned about this recent piece is very special. You kind of want it to go to a collector who presumably wants to kind of hold on to the work. Seems to me like you value that, people that hold your work as opposed to just flipping it. And you want to build lasting relationships with collectors, right? What is that fair to say? Yeah.
Yeah, so like the way I see my work is like, so what I remember this, like I have a real close family person of mine is like he's a painter. He's like an artist, like a kind of a famous in the hometown, and like always, like I've been to his studio since I was a kid. Like he has like an amazing place where he was doing all his paintings and like all this stuff. And like I remember this thing, like going there. Even since I was a kid, and also like when I was a teenager, and like every time we went there, like sometimes I went with other family members that were older than me, and they were always looking at his art and was like, and bringing friends and family from all over the country, and they were like sometimes saying, "Oh, like my friend wants to buy this piece, like how cool!" And he was like not immediately saying a price or like trying to sell that, and was like, yeah, but let's talk later. Like let's talk a little bit more about who the person is, and like and it's fun. Like in the end, because like for me, I spent so much time working on these pieces, and I'm not considering this as a way of like, it's not always about money, and it's not always about taking a profit of everything. Of course, it helps pay the rent and everything like that as an artist. And of course, crypto is helping a lot of artists getting out of their, difficulties on like, and also like, changing the life for sure for many people. But as much as I appreciate that, and I think like that's really important for me, is also important, like, because I'm putting out so much, not so much actually work as a NFTs, and all of these are like very kind of limited in a way that are the ones that I actually really like that I'm putting out. And it's like and sometimes that's very subjective, because like actually the artworks that I like the most are usually when I posted them on Instagram and like other platforms are the ones that get the less like and the last feedback. But in the end, it's like, what do you want to have as a collectible? Do you want the one that it's dearest to the heart to the artist, or like to you? And probably people wants to have what they like, because like, but maybe for NFTs, there is a little bit more to add to that, because it's not just a piece that you're going to showcase on your home or like any place like that, but that it has a story behind a little bit. So yeah, and that's the thing that I'm looking on. Like, of course, I'm into this stuff that I already sold, and like a few collectors are owning, and like, but in the same time, like with these other pieces, I want to have a little bit of a conversation and like just kind of get to know the people who might be interested, and also maybe also get to know them, and like see what they looking into it, and like what they also want to, and maybe they also kind of give me some feedback on the work, and like the way I'm approaching this, and like all this other stuff, which I feel like it's pretty cool, because like as I see, like a lot of collectors are jumping into the space, they also need to know a little bit more about the art side, similar to like a lot of artists are jumping into the NFT space and crypto to get to know people who already been into the space. So like I want to use my art as a way of like have a bridge between these two, and like get to know a little bit more the people, and like maybe just build like a relationship. This is how I made friends on Instagram. This is how I made friends traveling to conferences. This is how I made friends in real life. It's like having one interest in one thing, and maybe one thing led to the other, and we just talk about it, because like it's so easy. You just put the work out there, you get like a bid, and then boom, the collector just disappears, and you don't know who.
Yeah,
I mean, I respect the privacy and all that part, but like with these special pieces are really special to me, and like I want to maybe I don't want to just put one price and just add it there. With some of them maybe I'll do it like that, but with this one, it's very special, and I wanted to do it this way.
It's more than a transaction to you. It has to have a connection, and I think that's awesome, dude. I agree, and I do think it's a point you made about having a conversation with collectors, and sort of, if not everyone maybe wants to know how it's made or whatever, but there's something to be said for letting people in on the process, and and the tools and the time and things like that, because with the digital, it's less obvious, I think, and there are lots of assets out there that people can just grab and just throw together something, and if you have a good eye for composition, you can put something together quite quickly and just throw it up and make a quick buck and stuff. But like, I think there's like an education side to this as well, that a collector kind of knows that there's so many hours have gone into this, the thought process, the story. There's a lot to it, rather than it just being pixels attached to a token. And I think having an open dialogue has value in it itself. And yeah, I try to be descriptive in what I say about anything I put up as well. So go on. Sorry.
I believe that there are different kind of arts that every artist is putting out. There are also different kind of collectors in the way of like how they see the art. So like the same way, like some are seeing NFTs as a way to make a quick buck, and I understand that it's pretty cool, because like it's life changing for them at some point, and like it's investment, and like that's really good business in a way. Nothing against that, but like for me, with these special pieces, it's like it's so much to that than rather I'll have work, and I already have work, which is like it's pretty cool. I love it. It's still amazing, and I put it out there, and I already had like a price tag to it, and also had a few that was private sales and like things like that. But like in the end, it's like how cool would it be if you own like a painting from like a, or like an artwork from the artist, and like actually talk to the artist and like actually know the behind the story, and you know a little bit more about the process, as you were saying, how it was done, and like what they were thinking, what was the idea, you know, like all these other things would be cool, because in the end, like, you know a little bit more of the story of that. And always this stands for the collectors who probably are looking at this thing as a way of like holding for a little bit, and like, you know, maybe showcasing it somewhere on their, I don't know, like if they have like a portfolio of what they're collecting, or like a screen or anything like that. You know, it's kind of cool to know a little bit more of like what you're buying in a way. And later on, even if you want to resell it at some point, you know, like at one point you still have something left with you, and it's not just the transaction that you had it and you sold it, but you could, you know, at one point could be, oh, I knew you got something for yourself that you cannot give back to the reseller, like, you know, after you resold it.
Yeah.
So it's that first thing that you get directly from the artist.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, people will go with their gut, and you know they'll probably go, "I love it. I don't need to know anymore. I just want that." You know, because there's something about it, right? And then, but then, yeah, if you want to dive deeper, then I think having an option to discuss the piece and have a bit of a conversation and an art appreciation is fantastic also. And so yeah, there was, I mean, how long have you been doing, you know, is it almost a year, or and I'm talking about NFTs here, is it something when you first heard about it, were you kind of like, what is it? Or did you need convincing, or did you just get it straight away?
So no, I didn't get it straight away. So I was at one point, I think like it was last year. I think it was around August, September, something like that. I was seeing like a lot of my designer friends, especially on Instagram, were posting about NFTs, like, oh, that and that. And I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, it's interesting. But I was so busy doing like a lot of client work and like a lot of other things that I was focused on at the time. And I kind of regretted at one point that maybe I should have started a bit on and like get to know, get like a kick start on that. But in the end, it's like, you know, nothing would have changed. Like I would just, you know, kind of take it a bit more slow. But then it was funny. Like I remember like I had one of my designer friends who we did a collab on a Baugasm poster a few years ago, reached out to me, I think in December or something like that. And was like, hey, like a collector is trying to buy the piece. We work together, and like for this much. And how would you feel about selling that as an NFT? And I was like, and the amount was okay at the moment. And I was like, look, personally, if you want to sell it, I told him like, you can sell it for that price. It's okay. I even, you know, but I would say like, I think our work is way more valuable than that amount that they were offering. And I was like, if I would literally like do this work for a client, and he's like a very special work, because like actually it was one of the few really great works that I had done, and especially a collab. And I was like, I would rather talk to him like, wait a little bit and like, you know, maybe get like another offer, or like maybe ask them to increase the offer. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And in the same time, I was like, you know what, maybe just, it's up to you. I'll just leave it to you, right? And then like a month or 2 months later, he didn't sell that. And 2 months later, I think it was like end of February, beginning of, end of January, beginning of February of this year, he comes back and is like, I got another offer for this much. And I'm like, wait, seriously? Like that much? And it was like a crazy price. It was like a private sale. And for me at that point, I was like shocked, because I was like, okay, this is like amazing. NFTs. Wait, maybe I should look a little bit more into this. And that was the moment like where everybody was on Clubhouse. Everybody was like, you know, trying to learn and was like sleepless night. I remember like my girlfriend had, we were on her birthday, like celebrating, and like we celebrated and everything. And then I saw like I had like an hour of free time, like to do something. She was taking care of her nephews, and just took the phone and went to like a separate room, and I jumped to a clubhouse room, and I was just listening to what was happening, and like talking with everybody, and like and yeah, it's been a kind of a journey. Then in summer, I was like, I get it, like I get NFTs, but like I can't, my life cannot be just NFTs, right? Like I still want to keep doing art, and I like one thing that I see that a lot of artists are actually sometimes for some artists played for better, but for some I think is like maybe the direction unconsciously, the way how they're working is like just working for the sake of doing something for NFTs. And of course, it's like I was mentioning this in the beginning of like maybe you have to find a project and experiment with it, but maybe NFTs it's not the way to do that, because like it's something that you're going to put out there, and I don't know, like like focus on your craft, focus on the quality of the work, and like I don't want to design and make things just because I want to put them out as NFTs. I kind of course, like uh, that could be for some a primer, but for me it's not that. Like I just want to create cool art, and then if I see that this is cool, and like maybe I can put it as an NFT, make it as an NFT, I think that's also interesting. But I don't want that to be the primary thing. I don't want to design and make art because I want to turn it into an NFT. I have so much work that I've done since I kind of slowed down a little bit the Baugasm series, that I'm doing things on the side. Like I'm just creating these limited edition kind of things that I never put out. I never even posted them, that I'm just experimenting and like having these artworks and things like that. And I'm having so much fun, because like now I can dedicate more hours and time to each of these artworks, and and the time that I, after looking at them like 2 or 3 weeks or a month later, and I'm maybe should I post this as an NFT, like there is also like a filtering happening there of like how well those artworks resisted weeks and months after to be published. So it's not like and this is coming from an artist's judgment in a way. It's not like me doing something now and posting and then like 3 weeks later seeing, and I'm like, I mean, this is not one of my best work. And like, this is not fair also for people who actually, I mean, of course, always you're going to evolve and you're always going to see things differently as time passes by. But like, I think the ones that resist time also, like personally, the way how I judge my work, my old work, are the ones that are, and that's why I'm putting out these artworks, which are really special, because they are kind of, for me, are standing my skills and like the way how I judge them, looking back at them 2 months or 5 months or a year later. So those are like,
that makes sense. It's the ones that have stood the test of time all those years ago,
exactly.
through the Baugasm project into this curated series that you're putting out now. So yeah, makes sense to me, dude. That's just, because you could put them all out, but then that wouldn't be special and it wouldn't mean anything to you. And so yeah. So I got a question for you, like, because we're going to come to a new project of yours in a minute. And it's something that do artists need to offer collectors more than just the artwork linked to the NFT, And this is the question of utility and things like that. Do you have an opinion on that?
I don't know. I mean, like I saw some collectors of some of my work that I really like to have like something towards like a poster or like a print or anything like that. Sometimes, yeah, that's pretty cool to have, but I'm not sure. Like, I think in the end, it's like, this is what I'm trying to do with everyone who wants to collect my work at this point. Like, I want to kind of get to know them more. And like, if you get this piece of my work, like, what would be cool? Like if like maybe you get a print of it, or like maybe, I don't know, like I print something, I sign it and send it over, and like a personal note, or I don't know, like how important is to the collector the work, right? So this is what I'm trying to figure out as well, especially with the pieces that I'm really attached to, which I think is really important overall, to understand the collector as well, and yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't think there is like a specific approach that I'm taking, but like the only one that I'm trying to focus on is like getting to know a little bit the collector and like maybe just have a conversation started. And then if there are separate things that you can do, it's like on the talks, of course, like, what would be interesting. And if it all depends also from the piece and, how much things it could get out of that one artwork and what it could be done with it. So
indeed, indeed. Before we jump to your project, there is something that we've been talking about Baugasm. We've been talking about all of that. There's another side to your creative work, and it's, I guess, your personal account on Insta. It's the project. Is it The Creator? Is that the right? There's something that I saw on Behance as well.
The project. I just called that the project itself, but it's like this started this kind of work. So I was keeping this kind of work as I was saying in the beginning as a cinematography and photography and like sharing all my photography work, especially work that I do with my girlfriend. She's also a photographer and a model as much as she can be on my works, and also like she's doing this professionally long time. So like it's pretty cool when we work together and like kind of exercise that photography skill set together. And then came a point that kind of the pandemic came and like we couldn't go in many places and like travel and like also like we kind of we cannot go outside the country or anything like that. And I wanted to experiment like my 3D skills a little bit, and like I was like, what if I start adding a little bit of a kind of a cinematography and style and aesthetic that I have from my photography to 3D and like experiment with some stuff. So I started like I think early end of 2019, early 2020, like experimenting with some things and like actually, I mean, yeah, I was doing it a little bit earlier than that, but kind of playing around with some fire stuff, but adding like visual effects on top of I have like a video, added like fire on top of the head of my girlfriend. There is a video, but was from that. Then yeah, I was doing this kind of stuff, and it's funny because sometimes people thought like that we were like one of those. I have one with a deer there.
Yes.
Okay. That one went viral on Twitter for some reason. I think someone like wrote an article and posted this, and they thought, of course, this is from like a real article that I read, that they were doing this to the on Finland to the reindeers, like painting the antlers with like a glowing paint that can be detected. I think it was an experiment that they ran, but I don't know if they went through it. And like this kind of made it like an article. I got even interviewed by CNBC. They reached out like, is this like a real photo or is this like 3D? I was like, this is 3D, like you can tell.
Yeah, I can tell it's 3D, but yeah, there's a lovely aesthetic to it. Yeah, really cool. Do you do album covers? Oh, interesting. There's a comment there of Leo asking if you do album covers. Yeah, man. But I think it's the look, the finish that you put onto these that makes them very striking. And if we go to more towards the top where you've actually got like, the animated Sims. This one?
Yeah. No, the one with like below the center one. No,
this one?
yeah, this is the Wavell. That was the Wavell one. But I mean, yeah, exactly. So I'm trying like to combine like a real photography with 3D at this point. Like that's actually my girlfriend, and like I just we use like a green screen and like just put her there and like kind of made this all and have this kind of a aesthetic like.
The compositing's great on it. Yeah, it's
yeah, it worked out great.
Nice. Yeah,
still learning.
Yeah, but that's you're picking up all these different tools and is this these are you're bringing in these VDBs to do the volumetric clouds and biosimulations and things like that. And here's another one.
This is cool.
Yeah,
This is a cool software to do that.
Is this Embergen?
Emergent, yeah.
Yeah, this is an Otoy. I believe Otoy own it now. But like super fast fire simulations and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, fluid sims. I think they're doing something else with fluids, but this is awesome. And yeah, I think these are. Oh, look at this one, super popular. Very cool.
Yeah. So the funny thing how it started was like, if you see like in most of these photos, like there is a Mercedes, and yeah, it's like it is a car I got, like an old car I got like a couple of years ago, like physically got the car, and like I was fixing the car and like I kind of putting it together. So like that's how it started with the car, because like I always wanted like to use the car, like I wanted to shoot like a video also with my girlfriend, like kind of to do like a video together of like real world with a car and like photography, and like mix those together, and then one point get this car in 3D and like do crazy things that you cannot tell if it is like 3D or real cinematography, So that was the idea of like started working with the car. And then when I saw that putting the cars there and like doing that, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I can keeping this car aesthetic. And then I saw also with that, now I see like everybody has kind of adopted that, like trying to add cars everywhere, like putting cars, I don't know, like on homes and rooms and things like that, which is interesting because like, yeah, cars are pretty cool to have a aesthetic with, to play with.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of scope for what you can do, but I think I like this look. I like the kind of, like I said, the finish of it, the way you've sort of taken that 3D-ness away, and almost like kind of flattened it back down. Just the way that you've done the post on it just kind of feels like one that, yeah. I'm going to stop there because I'm sort of like, yeah, it's cool, dude. I appreciate it anyway. I want to talk about let's just jump over to a project that you're working on, Metasphere. And now, is this kind of Baugasm 2.0? Because you said you can work with circles. You can do anything with a circle, and we have, there's elements here. There's elements that I'm seeing in these posters that we're now looking at in Metasphere. So you're kind of progressing this style. Do you want to just talk through what exactly Metasphere is?
Yes. So, I mean, yeah, I don't want to spoil much of it because like it's still something that I'm working on, and it's like, but I have to say this, like I had so many like, yes, it is kind of a Baugasm expansion of doing something different and maybe using the NFT and crypto, like the whole NFT technology in a way to do something else than just art. So like this might be the final or might not be the final artworks. So like maybe these are, I don't want to spoil, like I don't want to say much, but like maybe everybody who gets these artworks, there is a little bit something else on behind from each of these artworks. So this is something that I'm still working, and I'm like actually want to make all these pieces feel unique and pretty cool. Like I'm actually doing, and they're going to be 100 of these pieces, and they're going to be a few collabs as well with a few of my favorite artists and friends that we are working on creating some of these spheres. And yeah, as you said, like why spheres, right? Like, but for me, sphere is like it can be everything. It's like the core of everything in style of like when I start designing, like you can make so many cool with that. And like for me, it's such an important element in my work and in general. Like everything that I start with the sphere. like and like from the sphere everything evolves out, and it's like when you think about it, it's like it's amazing as a shape, and like what you can do with it. And for me, having that and because it's so important to my work, I wanted to do something around the spheres, and like and then the project is a bit more, it's bigger than that. Of course it's about the art, but I wanted the art also to be like coming from me. Like I'm spending the same amount of time I was spending on each poster in each of these pieces as well. And there are some more complicated ones, there are some simple ones, but all of them. So like at this point, what I'm doing is like I just keep making spheres and like these artworks, and then looking back at them, and like then I have like a folder with probably half of what I already have designed of the spheres, which are maybe thrown out and I will not use. So like, again, I'm doing that thing that I was talking in the beginning, that I have the posters, sorry, I have the spheres, and then looking back like after 1 week, and like, do I like these ones? Okay, I don't like this one. I don't like this one. And like just still keeping the ones that I like. And it's not just to have those as numbers. But this is all I can talk about it. The project was planned to be launched on December, but because I'm planning something bigger than that, there might be a chance that it might be delayed for January. And because I want to take a little bit of a break during the holidays, in the end of the year, I might have to. And this is like still coming from an artist. Like I have a few people helping me out, but like the work and the artwork itself is still done personally by me, and just focusing on that. And like in the end, as I said, like I'm not doing this just because I need to do something into the NFT space, and like because everybody's doing editions. Like I already was doing editions since early on. Like I was doing these limited artworks of like 10 pieces, and like and so on. But like this one, it's like a gateway to something else that I wanted to do. And yeah, so I'm still working on it. I'm still working on the technicalities and like all the things coming with it, but it's going to be pretty cool. I hope, for me it's exciting, because like every time since the beginning, when I saw NFTs, the potential of NFTs, I didn't see them as like me selling my art and like using that, but like what you can build something on top of it. Like how can I use this technology to build something else on it, something that could be a little bit more different than just artworks. But yeah,
I was kind of going to round it off by saying, what is it about NFTs that kind of like excites you, for the future of what you can do with this technology?
so I mean, like there are so many things that you can do. We are seeing that being applied right now into games. The most amazing part was like this, like a lot of people actually, like I remember, like was it what was called, like it was a game that was really popular in the beginning or last year, Among Us. Like I remember I was playing Among Us, and like at one point I bought like a dog that was following me, and I spent like $2 or $3 to just get that, and like just because I thought it was funny. And like not so many people had it, like especially when I was playing locally with friends. When they saw the dog, I was like, what is that thing? And it was funny. But like in the end, I spend money to just get the thing, but then that's all. It just leaves there, right? Like, what if I want to resell that? Like, what if I don't want it anymore, right? Maybe there were only like 20 dogs at all, and then like that has more value, like the real life, or like the way how things work. And that's the first potential that I saw with NFTs. And then when you see that like expanding it way more, like we are seeing now in games with Decentraland and like all these other places, how it's being applied. But for me, the most interesting part is the Web3, is like how the products being built and using the technology of like how we can, like I'm already seeing like a lot of people who are into startups, like kind of Web2 are all moving into Web3 and like actually building products on top of it. And for me, that was like, because I'm coming from a background of someone working with web design and like mobile apps and like UI and UX. I kind of also from that startup kind of a little bit of a world. Always I have a little bit of that mindset of like seeing a technology and seeing what product you can build on top of it. In sense, not like a product. It sounds a bit cheesy when you think about it, but like what kind of a service you can build on top of that, and could be a product, it could be anything else, but yeah, that's the potential I see on it, and I think a lot of us are seeing that already, and like of course as an artist the product is your art, but maybe it can be a little bit more than that.
Yeah, sure. Are there any words?
We are on the field of technology, right? Like we all are the first one who are adapting it and like
Right.
kind of understanding it. And we are the first one who were all on clubhouses and like trying to figure out. Of course, there were people who already were in crypto and like already knew what NFTs were. But like for artists, like we are the new probably group that came and was like, okay, NFTs, let's understand them and see how it works, and then understand the technology. And then there are the developers and like people who were understand it a bit more technically in general. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Why not just stop there? Why not just build something more than that?
I mean, you've mentioned like understanding and sort of, yeah, I guess taking time to get into this. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who's just seeing this, who's a fan of your work, who now thinks, well, I've learned from you and I'm maybe want to get into this myself, like what would you say to that person?
You mean for the metasphere, or you mean like for NFTs in general?
I think I'm talking about just crypto in general. If we're talking about, there's a lot of emerging talent. We see it all the time. You said it yourself that you're seeing a lot of people coming into your feed and Twitter feed and stuff like that, and people are discovering this for the first time. They may even be discovering it for the first time through watching this podcast replay, when it comes out, and you may have a message for them that was inspiring. I don't know.
Yeah, as I said since at the beginning, like the way you should have the mindset probably of like seeing this as a technology, like a new tool, like a new medium for you to be creative. It's not about just like I had a few friends who are artists, designers, and they just came into the NFT space early on, and they were like trying to understand it. They kind of understood it. They put their work out, and it didn't work for them. Like they didn't get any collectors. They didn't sell anything, and they quit. They just retrieved from the space, right? And those are the artists who came because they just wanted to take. That's all they could give to the community, right? But I think like in order to be part of this, and like in order to probably figure this out better, is like try to understand it and try to be part of it in a way of like see this as a new medium, how you can create on it. It's not just what you were doing up until this point. It's not about like I was making posters up until this point, and now that crypto and like NFTs became part of my world, like these worlds two combined together, I'll keep doing the same thing. No, for me, it's like like Embergen. It's like it's a new software that you can do simulations with fire, and like how can I integrate that in part of my work, and like how can I use that as a technology to build something on top of my work, and like similar to like how would I do a book with my work, and that was like a different medium. It's print. It's like like why not just use these to build something on top, not just art. So I think that's the most important part. Like see NFTs not as a medium of like just coming and selling your work and that's it, but see this as a way of maybe for you to learn some programming language, and like see a little bit more of like how you can use the technology to build something more. And I told this story in the beginning where I had like a lot of music, and I had a lot of artworks that I wanted to showcase and make a website to build a portfolio and show this, but I couldn't afford to get someone to do it. And I think this is the right time for all of us. We are into this moment where a new technology came on. We want to do something on it, and we have all the resources in the world to kind of learn it, and not just like a dial-up internet or go to an internet cafe. So like at this point, like it's all up to you, like what you want to do with it.
There you go. That is awesome, dude. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I've had a great time, and I hope you've enjoyed, sharing your story and loads of little nuggets there, loads of words of wisdom and stuff. So, everyone, if they look right below Vasjen's picture there, you can see it at Baugasm. But is there anywhere else where you'd like to mention where people can find your work and follow you?
Yeah, probably Instagram if you want to see my work, Behance, and maybe on Twitter if you want to say hi and just give me a follow there. Also send me a message. Not spamming, but oh my god, we were talking yesterday. My Discord has been was filled with spam and bots. And I cleaned it up today. But now, if you reach me out on Twitter, and happy to make a few more friends and talk to people.
Yeah, and people.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for having me. This is awesome. You're doing such a great job, and also for the community and the way how you're handling all this is amazing. And it was also really nice chatting also today and also yesterday with you. And hope we stay in touch as well.
Oh, we definitely will. We will. I want to thank you again, and then I want to thank everyone listening live. I mean, we've been going for some time now, and I really appreciate people that have stuck with us. And the ones that are here, they know that there's a POAP. There's this. This is the exclusive POAP for this episode, which you can claim. And I'll take a snapshot of people that are here, and we'll make sure that you get this. So just hang tight, and I'll get that sorted for you after the show. So coming back, thanks again to the community for supporting the Playing Arts project, and once again, Vasjen, thanks so much for joining me for this.
Thank you.
An epic conversation. You've gone the distance. I know it's late for you there, so I really appreciate your time. And we're going to get out of here. We'll say goodbye, and we'll see you in another episode of the Playing Arts podcast. Alrighty, bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.